The other day, I ran a 5k, and it was the first 5k that I've ran in as long as I can remember. It's been a long time since I last ran a 5k, but it wasn't my first. In fact, I've done as much as a half marathon, which I did back in 2021. But when I did my 5k run the other day, all of the things that I'd learned during my half marathon training started to come back to me, and things just became so simple. I realised that actually, to run a 5k is really easy. You just need to know what to do and how to do it. And that's why I decided to make this video. I've collected together 5 tips that are going to help you watching run a 5k with ease. So let's get into it. So the first tip, and probably the most important tip, is to take it slow. How many people do you see running a 5k and they just sprint off at the start, but they don't make it to the end? A lot of people start too fast. And the thing is, it's going to be better to speed up towards the end of your run and finish strong, rather than speeding off at the start and ending up slowing down towards the end. As you get to the end of your 5k, that's when you want to be giving it your all. So you want to run at a pace that's comfortable for you. And when I say comfortable, I mean what is known as a conversational pace. If you're running and you couldn't talk to me if I was running alongside you, you're probably running a little bit too fast. So slow it down a little bit. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other. And remember, it's not about how quick you do it. It's just about the fact that you've done it. So let's move on to tip number 2. And this kind of goes hand in hand with what we just said. Focus on your breathing. So as well as choosing a pace that's comfortable for you, you want to make sure that you're in control of your breath the entire time, for the whole run. Every breath that you take, every inhale that you take, you want it to be through your nose. And if you keep control of your breath, your run probably won't stop before your legs give out. A lot of times people will stop their run because they're out of breath, but their legs could have probably given them a little bit more. So if you take this advice, you're probably going to add a couple of K to your current run anyway, just from this one piece of advice. So tip number 3, plan your run. You want to know where you're going to be running to. You want to know where the start's going to be. You want to know where the end's going to be. When I went out for my run, I had it planned in my head. I knew I was going to run to this field near me, run around it 3 times, and then on the way back home, I would hit that 5k. And this just stops you from stopping your run from a silly thing. Like, imagine you go down a certain street and you end up at a dead end and you're not sure where to go. It could stop you in your tracks. Plus, if you know what your run's going to be, you're going to know whereabouts in the run you are without having to constantly look at your phone and think, how many K? Now, tip number 4, and this is an absolute gem. This is a golden nugget.
So you're going to want to listen to this one.
We're going to talk about your strides and your arm movement. So one of the most important things that I learned through my half marathon training, obviously it was all about distance. And if you want to cover more distance, especially more distance than you've ever covered before, you need to be conserving your energy. Now there's a way to do this, and this is the way that I always run to conserve energy. So what you'll see from a lot of runners is that they'll have their hands up here, okay? They'll be running like this. You don't want to do that because you're going to be using more energy just to keep your hands up. So you want to keep your hands more down by your sides. Obviously not completely flat, you're going to have a little bit of a bend at the elbow, but keep your arms down, and that's already going to save you and conserve you some energy. But what about your feet? How do you move your legs? Well, you want to be hitting the ground with each foot directly underneath you so that you're directly over your center of mass. And you want to be hitting the ground with your midfoot. What you'll see from a lot of runners is that they'll overstride. So they'll be hitting the ground with each foot out in front of them. And that's going to waste a lot of So that leads us on to our final tip, tip number 5. Eat carbs before your run. Now I'm not talking about eating carbs 5 minutes or 30 seconds before you go out for a run, okay? Normally I would say about half an hour or maybe a little bit longer, have some carbs. Don't have a meal less than 30 minutes before you're gonna go for a run, because it's just gonna sit in your stomach, it's gonna make you feel a little bit sick potentially. It's not a good idea. And I also don't mean by carbs to have something like a donut or chocolate, for example. Okay, maybe this will still give you a similar benefit, but realistically, one of the best things that you can have before a run is a piece of fruit like a banana or an apple. something light that's going to give you some good clean carbs that you're going to be able to use for your run. Because your body's main source of energy when you're doing cardiovascular activity is carbs. And it's going to take a lot more for your body to break down the glucose and the sugar in a donut than it is in a banana, for example. Hence why you want to be eating something like fruit. So I'd recommend having like a banana or something, maybe about 30 minutes before your workout, and it's going to give you an extra little boost of carbs, which is going to help you during your run. Now, as your runs get longer, you'll probably want to have a little bit more before you go out for a run. I know a lot of people will do a morning run and they'll have something like oats and a banana or something like that. You still don't want to have like a massive meal before you go out for a run, because of course it's just going to sit in your stomach. But as well, if you're going to be running distances like half marathons and stuff in the future, you will need to probably bring something to fuel you during your workout, which is where things like gels and Lucozade and stuff like that come into play. But for your first 5k run that you're going to be able to do easily now because you've watched this video, just a banana or an apple 30 minutes before will do. So that's all the tips that I have for you guys. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Please do leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. Do you want to know how to easily run your first 10k? Well, maybe that's a video that I'll bring next. And if you would like to see a full race day vlog from when I did my half marathon back in 2021, check out the video that's popped up in your screen right now. And until next time, guys, I'll see you later.